Hey everyone, welcome back to the M&R Show. I'm Ron.
I'm Malcolm.
We're getting another NBA topic in. The season starts today on Tuesday. I don't know if this will be posted, but it does start on Tuesday. You have Lakers, you have Celtics, you have Warriors, and who's the Celtics play, Mom?
Philly.
And you play Philly, who is a team I'm excited to see as well. Great matchups. I think 3 of them are in the playoffs. The Lakers aren't. So we should at least see games that will make the playoffs on opening day. So Malcolm, just what are you excited about the NBA season?
I mean, first, I think first and foremost, I'm a Celtics fan.
Shut the fuck up.
I love my Celtics. I should have worn my Celtics hat on. I probably would do it, next week when my Celtics win these games this week. But much about that. But at the end of the day, I think first and foremost is my Celtics. I really want to see how this year will be. I was just talking to Ron before the show about Joe Mazzulla as the coach, and I was trying to say that I feel like Joe Mazzulla is a very good coach. Yeah, I'm probably saying that based off me looking at summer league and just basing that off of what he can do in the regular season. Yeah, I definitely understand it's delusional. But if you get to what I'm saying, I really like this team right now. In the preseason, they really showed a well-oiled machine, and I really try to go into it. I really try to make my point really well when looking at it. I've looked at this year preseason, last year preseason. I see that we've struggled in offenses in the preseason last year, which what I'm saying, and I've seen that carried on to the season. I knew that our defense was very good in the preseason last year, and it carried on to the season. This year, offensively and defensively, we had one of the top teams in the preseason, and I feel like that can be able to carry on in the regular season, just like how last year's problems that we had carry on to the regular season. So that's one thing. So we are a well-oiled machine, and I have so much confidence in Joe Mazzulla as a head coach. And everybody thought I'm crazy, but we're gonna go back over this and be like, Malcolm was right, But the main thing I want to talk about, the team that I really am really excited to really see, is their opponent on opening night, and that's Philly. Because at the end of the day, when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, you got guys who are trying to prove something. And that's one in Joel Embiid, who's really trying to prove his case because he lost MVP twice to, Nikola Jokic. You got James Harden, who's trying to prove himself this year that, he is the James Harden of old. Not of old, but he's still a good James Harden. You got Tobias Harris, who got something to prove, because at the end of the day, everybody's forgetting about Tobias Harris. Everybody's forgetting the player that he was. And we're not expecting Tobias Harris to be a star, but we know that he's one of the better fourth options, if not the best fourth option in the league. And he's going to prove that this season. And another thing is Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers has been going around the league. He's been having a bad rep as far as him being able to coach teams and coach very, very good teams to the highest ceiling that they should be able to be. And I think that Doc Rivers has something to prove. I think that this team has something to prove right now, especially in the hard East. And you bring in guys like PJ Tucker, who can perfectly fit right next to Joel Embiid, which gives me a question, because I don't like putting Tobias Harris out of that fourth spot and put him in that third spot. But we'll see how that goes. But you add in a guy like PJ Tucker, who brings that that defense. He brings that tenacity on defense, even though they're already one of the top 10 defensive teams in the league. And then you add a guy like DeAnthony Melton, who you took from Memphis, so you can shore up that bench. I think this will be a very good team, and really in that tough top 5 of the East. So I'm really excited to see what they can be able to bring. Which about you? I know I can talk too much about all my teams, but what about you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm excited for the Denver Nuggets. I think they'll be a top 3 seed in the West. I think they'll have the number 1 offense, at least by offensive rating, this season, with the Joker probably contending for a 3rd straight MVP. Don't think he'll win it because just voter fatigue and everything, but I think he's going to have a great season. You got the Joker as the best passing big in NBA history. You got Jamal Murray come back over a year. He should be fine. Right now, it's more of probably a mental game than anything. His body should be as recovered from ACL tear as it can be. As your 2 guard, it traded for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. The definition of 3 and D. Perfect fit. I think it was a great trade. Fit a need. It needed more perimeter defense. He's 6'5". He's going to make at least 36 to 38% of his threes. A small forward, you have Michael Porter Jr., one of the worst defenders in the league, but then also probably a top 5 shooter in the league. And he's 6'10", At the end of the day, it's hard to find 6'10" shooters that are this comfortable at making shots. He had an F openness rating in 2020, in the 2020 season. This last season, he played over 60 games. And then he's never open, but is still an A in efficiency. So again, elite shooter. And you have Aaron Gordon. Again, he can make the corner three. He's a great cutter, and he's the best defender in their lineup. Him and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I think they have one of the best starting five, not the best starting five in the NBA. And then he picked up Bruce Brown. Just you need role players when in the NBA. People, that's the one of the things people underrate in the NBA is bench. You have Bruce Brown, you have Jeff Green, and you have Bones Highland, who's going to put on the show every single night off the bench. Similar to like a Jamal Crawford type role. I think Denver has a chance to win the championship. It's just as a deep is going to play, and can a center that isn't a good defender win a championship? We've never seen it done. Then I want to hit Will Malcolm was getting into with Philadelphia. That's my other dark horse. I have Denver and I have Philadelphia as my dark horse championship contenders this year. That people probably aren't the favorites, but they have a really good shot. With Philly, it's just, do I believe in James Harden, Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers? It's going to be tough. They do have problems. But the roster and the talent is maybe the most talented, or second or third most talented roster in the NBA, period. You have Harden. I love Maxey. I think he's every time I watch Tyrese Maxey, he's a better player. He's a great finisher. He shot like 40% from three last year. He's like Desmond Bane with better finishing right now. Again, Tobias Harris is truthfully just a role player, but overall he does his role pretty well, I would say. They're gonna need him to guard the perimeter better. He has to. He's the only guy besides PJ Tucker they have that has truthfully the size to guard on the perimeter. He's their only him. I guess it's going to be him. It's going to be PJ Tucker are going to have to be the wing stoppers on this team. They don't have really any other guys. Tyrese Maxey is going to be undersized. James Harden just doesn't play defense. So they're going to struggle with that. And you don't want to just funnel people into Joel Embiid. It's going to wear down. You're going to need other players. The thing that does scare me is the backup center position. That should be interesting since they have lost Drummond, who seems like he's doing pretty well with the Bulls. So besides that, they do have a pretty good bench, I would say. They're going to have to stay healthy, and we're going to have to hope that James Harden, one, his condition is better. Two, that he can actually continue to be good throughout the playoff, not just the opening round. And then Joel Embiid got to stop the foul baiting. It doesn't work in the postseason. We've seen it the last 3 years. His efficiency has dropped every year because teams are taking away the driving, and they're not going to keep fouling him. So it's going to be interesting to see what Philadelphia can do, but I think they're a contender.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It's going to be a lot to see, especially as Tobias Harris. That's why I said one thing that's going to be interesting is seeing Tobias Harris at the three, if that's where he starts at, because he's not really known as a good defender. And to be honest, when you're playing against some of the top wings in the NFC East, not NFC East, but got me overstaying football, but in the Eastern Conference, you got the Brooklyn Nets with KD, you got Boston with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and you got even Miami with Jimmy Butler. So you just got different wings that you have to play against, and I just feel like for Philly, like that would be the main problem. Putting guys like Tobias Harris on the island, praying to God that PJ Tucker, who's almost like 37, 38 years old, can be able to still hold like he has done before. So
Yeah.
those are big questions that you have to answer, and I feel like they could be able to find a way. I understand Andre Drummond left. Montrezl Harrell is an interesting piece to me because at the end of the day, James Harden, but he's still one of the best pick and roll bigs in the league, and I think that he can be able to thrive with a guy like James Harden. I think he can thrive with a guy like DeAnthony Melton. So those are my takeaways from that, and I just think that with Doc Rivers, this is I think this will be a big year for Doc Rivers, and if he doesn't produce,
if he's fired if he doesn't win a championship this year.
Exactly. If he doesn't produce, I just don't think that he will get another job after this. To be honest, after this, because at the end of the day, you went from one very good team to another very good team to another very good team,
and this is
the same results. You don't bring up 1990s in the 90s or the early 2000s Orlando team. This is 2022. We're talking about what you have. It's what have you done for me lately? Not what you done for me when you first started. What have you done for me lately? And he hasn't been producing lately. So I think that this year it will be Doc Rivers' year to figure out what he can be able to do. And if not, he is definitely going to get the papers.
Okay, now to end the segment, I got some of the ESPN lists of their top 100 players. For one, Malcolm, do you agree they have Giannis as number one player? Do you agree that Giannis is number one player?
I agree.
Do you agree that Curry is under Embiid and Luka Doncic?
No, but if they're basing off of how healthy and how old Steph Curry is, I understand. But other than that, no.
Okay. I got a couple of interesting ones. For one, we have let me see. We have your guy Malcolm Brogdon ranked as the 87th player. Last year he was the 65th player based on this exact list. Do you think he'll rise? He's one spot. He's actually rated under Jordan Clarkson right now. So do you think that he'll move up the rankings, or do you think he'll be better than the 87th best player?
If he under Jordan Clarkson, yeah, I expect he'd be better. I feel like he's in a better off. He's a very good offense where he doesn't have to do a lot. You know, this is the offense that he can just be efficiently Malcolm Brogdon. You know, and he can be able to do what he has to do. So yeah, I think he's over Jordan Clarkson. I think he can be able to improve on that.
Okay, we have Russell Westbrook as the 65th best player. He is above players like Jalen Brunson, Desmond Bain, Al Horford, Michael Porter Jr., OG Anunoby, Ben Simmons, Dylan Brooks. What do you on the Westbrook? What do you think? Should he be over these players based on he does an MVP? At the end of the day, he was 18 last year. What do we think about Westbrook being the 65th best player over all those guys?
You know, I am not trying to get killed by these, analytical guys, and everything like that. And I know you wanted to bring that out, but I love Russ, man. And at the end of the day, I just think that Russ is good where he at. I think that's a good ranking, to be honest with you. Everybody's gonna blow me. Somebody's gonna blow. Everybody's gonna be blown by that. But at the end of the day, yeah, that's all I gotta say.
And then, okay, our last one. They have Zion as the 40th best player. I get he did not play games last year, but he's below players. He's below Clay, who we like. He's below Kate Cunningham, Marcus Smart, and let's see another one that's pretty interesting. We have his own teammate, Brandon Ingram, and then you have DeMar DeRozan. Do we like Zion being the 40th best player going into the year?
No. I think Zion should be at least top 20, top 20, top 25. I mean, it's some of that is messed up, but that Russ one is funny how you slide that in.
I just thought that was interesting. I didn't make the list against
Ron. You thought it was interesting.
I just thought
okay.
Thought about him being the 65th best player. For one, I feel like when you put a number on it, it makes like, damn, 65, like he's trash. But 65 actually isn't that bad in the league. Truth be told,
it's not bad.
A lot of good players in the league. Like in the 80s, again, we had the 80s with Brogdon, like Porzingis. He's already in the 80s, at least by the ranking number. We could say that it should be higher. But this is just where they are. Mm-hmm. So again, I don't think it's that bad for him to be 65th. Now, he does have the fifth highest contract in the league. So, of course, that does look bad. But besides if we just look at him just straight up as a player, 65th isn't terrible for Westbrook, even though he probably will take that, again, he has a chip on his shoulder. He is playing tonight or Tuesday, again, whenever this comes out.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting. He's starting. He had a hamstring injury. This is going to be very interesting to see him play Golden State. He's going to be the guard probably following Curry. Like, it's a good, or maybe he'll be the guard during Clay because he is strong. He can guard a person like Klay Thompson if he decides to go in the post. I'm very interested to see how Darvin Ham uses Russell Westbrook. Will there be a short leash? Because they do have Beverly, they do have Kendrick Nunn. Dennis Schroeder's out a month, but you have other guards. You have Lonnie Walker, who's pretty athletic. It's going to be really interesting to see Westbrook. And again, Zion, top 25 minimum. I get him play. He has to be top 25. He just has to be. And lastly, SGA wasn't even in the top 40. Come on, man. He got to at least be in the top 40. But okay, it's gonna be a very fun season, Malcolm. Any final takes for the segments?
Nah, I'm so happy for the NBA season. It gets my mind off of like football stupidness, watching Commander stuff.
That's
It gets your mind
right.
off to somebody, some team that's actually winning or something, like even though we still got allegations going on, but it's like a winning
For
team
sure.
instead. But I'm just really excited for this season. I'm really excited to talk all my smack this season, like Malcolm loves to do. Finally can get back to. So I'm happy for it.
All right. Well, again, like, share, subscribe. We have a lot of new content coming to the channel. The M&R Network again is growing. We have multiple podcasts on it, on our Apple, our Spotify, our YouTube. So just keep following our pages. What Malcolm will give, and follow all the content that we're producing. We're trying to grow for you all, Malcolm.
Yeah, most definitely. So make sure y'all follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. On Instagram is Malcolm Ron Network. Twitter is Malcolm Ron Show. We have a lot of different takes, a lot of different things that we post. So make sure y'all tune in, y'all. I appreciate y'all. See
All
ya.
right.